25th of July, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Vaeschanan. Here was supposed to continue where he was reading, but he's not here.
Okay, so we'll give you the.
So according to my marker, we're up to Ki Hu Ya'avor, which is part of verse 28. And we're in the Rashi.
Yeah, we're in the Rashi. Yeah.
So this is
Hashem
is saying to Moshe, Yehoshua is going to be the one that crosses over the Jordan.
Right.
Im Ya'avor Lifneihem.
What about, have we done the previous Rashi?
I believe we did, but I can go back and do it if you want.
I think we have Wachazkeu v'amtzeu.
Right. Strengthen him and give him resolve. And you were saying that v'amtzenu means to
able to maintain his strength.
Yeah, right. Be devarecha with your words. Shelo yerach libo, so that his heart should not become weak. Lomar, by saying, kishem she'ne'nash rabbi alehem. Just as my master was punished concerning the Jewish people, kach sofi, so will be my end. Let Nesh Alehem, to be punished concerning them, Miveticho Ani, I will assure him, Ki Hu Ya'avor, that he will cross, V'hu Yanichil, and he will cause them to inherit the land.
Right.
So that's, when it says, I assure him, that's Hashem?
Yes.
So Moshe is saying to Yehoshua, Hashem assures you.
Yeah, because this is quoting Pasuk Chavav, Vayom Hashem Elai. Hashem said to me, Ravloch, this is all Hashem's words. And he told Moshe Rabbeinu and Chav Zayin, go up to Rosh HaPisgah. And now in this pasuk, he's telling him, V'tzaves Yehoshua, and command Yehoshua and strengthen him and make him steadfast.
Yes.
Diseases of the
And was this HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying, as Moshe Rabbeinu is saying over what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him. Okay?
Right. Okay, so the next, so it goes on.
Kihu
Ya'avor, for he shall cross, im Ya'avor lifneihem, if he crosses before them, yin chalu, they will inherit. The imlav, and if not, lo yin chalu, they will not inherit. V'chein ata motzei, and so you.
Mikhail's on the phone from Senator Moched.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to take a very important phone call.
Okay. Anybody else to replace you? Okay. V'chein ata motzei k'shesholach min ha'om Eloi, v'hu yoshav. Okay, they will find that when Yeshua when they were conquering, they wanted to conquer the city of Ai, which was a Canaanite city. But who Yoshav, he stayed in his own place and he sent soldiers, he sent a group of soldiers to conquer it. What happened? The Jewish people that group of soldiers got defeated. They were not much defeated, but they were unsuccessful in their mission. The Kimin Shenofal al Ponov, when Yeshua then fell on his face before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amar lo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, Kum loch, right? Arise you. Kum loch ksiv. Ato hu ha'imei b'mkomcha. U'shalech es bonai lamilchama. Lama ze ato nofel al ponecha. Lo yokach omarti leMoshe Rabach. Im hu over ovri. Im lav ein ovri. Meaning that the Kosh Baruch was telling Yoshua, you've got to be the one who's got to lead them into battle. Don't send representatives. You've got to be the one to do it yourself. Okay? Okay, let's continue. Pasuk Chof Tes. Vaneshev Bagoi Mul Beispar. We dwelt in Bagoi in the valley, facing Beispar. Right, now it's interesting that the Pasuk, what it's like kind of cryptic, ambiguous. We dwelt in the valley. Just says, that's what it does. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't say any more. We dwelt in the valley facing Beispar. So Rashi says that Moshe Rabbeinu was hinting over here, v'nitzmadetem la'avodah zarah, and you, how should we say, and you embraced idol worship. It says that the Mamish embraced the idol worship of Baal Peor. Ba'aval Pikein, nevertheless, the next pasuk continues. Ba'ato Yisrael, now Yisrael, Shema el achukim, listen to the statutes. Ba'kol machol lecha, and everything is forgiven for you. Ani lo zochi, but I did not merit that my sin of not heeding the word of Hashem to the letter, because he hit the rock instead of speaking to the rock, that was not forgiven for me. That Kosh Baruch Hu did not forgive me for that, my sin. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, Pasuk chapter, we're up to chapter 4, chapter Dalet, Pasuk Aleph. Ba'ato Yisrael, and now Yisrael, Shema el achukim ve'la mishpatim. Listen to the statutes and to the laws. Chukim are laws which are mitzvahs which we do not know the term. The reason for the mitzvahs was not revealed to us. Ve'la mishpatim are civil laws which we do understand. Okay? Shema el achukim ve'la mishpatim asher onochim melamed eschem la'ases, which I am teaching you to do. Leman tichyu, in order you should live. Uvosem rishtem es haaretz asher Hashem elokei v'yiseikem neseim lochem. In order that you should come and take possession of the land which Hashem, the God of your forefathers, gave to you. Means it's only in the schus of the Jewish people are fulfilling the mitzvahs do they merit to come into Eretz Yisrael. We'll see in a number of places, the Ramban particularly points this out, but Rashi is also of the opinion that the main place where the Torah prescribes to keep the mitzvahs is in Eretz Yisrael. The only reason why there also is an obligation, there's a Torah obligation to keep the mitzvahs in Chutz La'aretz, is in order that we should maintain the practice of the mitzvahs which we're supposed to do in Eretz Yisrael. But the main place, the real McCoy, is keeping the mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael. The Rashi mentions this in a few places. Let me show you. You have it here. Well, most notably in Parshas, the second Parsha of Krishma, which appears in Parshas Akev. Just 1 second. Hayom Shemaya. So it says, Ishamu lachem penifta levavchem etzaltem avatem Elohim acherim mishtachvisem lahem. The result of that, v'chora af Hashem bochem ve'otzar es hashomayim v'lo yeh matar bo adam ole siteni sivula v'avatem mehero ma'alo etz ha'tova asher Hashem nisim lachem. Yeah. Then the next pasuk says, "V'samtem es devarai eile." You should place these words, and Rashi says, "Yud Ches, af la'acha shetiglu." Even after you go into Galus, I'm reading from pasuk chapter Yud Aleph, pasuk Yud Ches. Af la'acha shetiglu hayu mitzuyonim b'mitzvos. Be nevertheless outstanding in keeping the mitzvahs. Hanichu tefillin, asu mezuzos. Kidei shelo yeh lachem chadoshim keshetachzeru. You know, they shouldn't be new for you when you come back. Yeah. There's a big discussion among the Mefarshim, but the Ramban says quite clearly, I'm not sure it's over here in the Akev or elsewhere, the main place where we keep the mitzvahs is in Eretz Yisrael. That is as the Mefarshim explain, the term used by Chazal is the Palterin Shel Melech, the king's palace. Okay, the king's palace. Eretz Yisrael is the king's palace. This is where the real place to do the mitzvahs. And Chas v'Sholem, alternatively, if people come to live in Eretz Yisrael and they don't keep the mitzvahs, that is much more serious than if they would not fulfill them. Therefore, on the one hand, it's a tremendous schos that we have to fulfill the mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael, that we are in Eretz Yisrael. But on the other hand, it's a responsibility upon us that if Chas v'Shalom we don't keep the mitzvahs properly, then not keeping the mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael is a much more severe avera than not keeping the mitzvahs in Chutz La'aretz. Anyway, especially it's something to bear in mind when we, during this, what's going on around us, we see that unfortunately people who are not Shemei Torah mitzvahs, they have no real appreciation of Eretz Yisrael. Okay? When they They call it their homeland, but it's not really. When it doesn't, you can see. Anyway, I don't want to go into it too much, but I'm mentioning over here, Lou, this idea that the main place where the mitzvahs are to be kept is Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
I don't want you to misconstrue my words politically. I'm not saying absolutely nothing political. What I'm saying is the place to keep the mitzvahs, which the Torah prescribes, it's mashma from Rashi in a number of places, and the Ramban says it explicitly, is that the place to keep the mitzvahs is in Eretz Yisrael. One is obliged midoraisa to keep the mitzvahs in Chutz
I'm
La'aretz.
sorry, I gotta excuse myself.
Okay, one is obliged to keep the mitzvahs in Chutz La'aretz, but only that we should be familiar with those mitzvahs, that when we come back to Eretz Yisrael, we'll know what to do. That's what Rashi says. I quoted the Rashi later on in chapter 11, in Parshas Eikev, chapter 11, Pasuk Yud, Pasuk Yud Ches. Yud Aleph Yud Ches. The Ramban also says it explicitly, that the ikka place to keep the mitzvahs is in Eretz Yisrael. Just, and there's no doubt about it that we need more Shemrei Torah mitzvahs coming here to Eretz Yisrael, and we need less people who are not Shemrei mitzvahs here in Eretz Yisrael. Let them go, let them be Chayzer B'tshuva, that's the best thing. If they're not going to be Chayzer B'tshuva, and certainly Goyim, let them just leave the land. It will leave us alone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wonderful.
Okay, let's go on. We're up to.
Apologize for the interruptions. It's doctors that I'm talking to, so it's very important.
Okay, fine. Say that, no problem. I just moved on a little bit. That'll give me a chance to read now.
Mayor, you were supposed to be on time today.
I had my thing on both you and Rabbi Moore's link, and no one let me in. I don't know.
Okay.
No,
sorry.
no, don't tell me that. You weren't here on time. I let you in after
Okay.
you.
Anyway,
I actually signed on 12:51 at one point.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I was late. I was late for that. I mea culpa.
Okay.
anyway, let's not
Okay.
not get into argument about the missing link. Anyway,
Okay. Where are we holding then?
okay. Okay, let's start chapter 4. Just discussing. Perek Daled, Pasuk Aleph. Ato Yisrael.
Okay. Let's see. V'ata Yisrael Shema El HaChukim Ve'el HaMishpatim Asher Anochi Melamed Etchem La'asot Leman Techiyu Uvatem V'rishtem Et Haaretz Asher Hashem Elokei Avotechem Noten Lachem. Okay, so now Israel listened to the decrees and the
Chukim, the statutes, let's call them.
statutes and okay.
The laws. Now,
laws.
the Chukim are mitzvahs which we do not know the reason. It's not made known to us the reason for them.
Okay.
Right? That's what's called a statute. Means it's the milsa below timer. Vela mishpatim.
Okay, so
It refers to laws, civil laws, which we know about. Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Listen to the statutes and the laws. Asher ne'ekim elamed eschem la'asos. which I am teaching you to do.
Okay.
Okay? Continue, yeah?
Okay, so let's see. Okay, to do. Okay, let's see, which I'm teaching you to do. Laman, in order, Tichiyu, that you will live and you will come and inherit the land which Hashem,
Possession of the land.
possession of the land. Oh, that's a noun. Okay.
What? Sorry? No, rishtem
the
doesn't
Rishtem,
necessarily
you'll
mean to inherit,
inherit.
because inheritance is something which one gets from a parent. Okay? Rishtem in the sense, whereas Yerusha, the term Yerusha can mean to inherit. It also means to take possession of, because the Jewish people are going to take possession of the land by conquering the land. Okay? Asher Hashem Elokeim.
So you'll come and possess the land. Okay. Let's see. You'll come and possess the land, which Hashem, the God of your forefathers, I guess, gives to you.
He's giving to you.
Is giving. Okay, it's present tense. Okay.
Right.
Is giving to you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Oh.
By the way, this is what I was just speaking before. Only Yechiel was here. But this idea of that the main place where the mitzvahs are to be kept is in Eretz Yisrael. That is the real McCoy. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to Pasuk Beis. Lo Sifu.
Okay, so fifu. Let's see. Lo tosifu adavar asher anochi mitzaveh etchem v'lo tigra'u mimenu lishmor et mitzvot Hashem Elokeichem asher anochi mitzaveh etchem. Okay, so you shouldn't add tosifu. Okay. To that I command you, and you shall not take away from it.
Subtract from it.
Oh, subtract. Okay. Oh, it's Tigru is literally subtract. Okay. Lishmor mitzvot, to observe the commandments of Hashem, your God, which I am commanding you. Okay, so that was 2, and Rashi says, Lo tosifu, you shall not add. Kigon, he gives an example. Chamesh parashiot the tefillin. Oh, the 5 parashas in the tefillin. Wow.
Meaning, there's supposed to be 4 parashas. Right? As we know, we have 4 parashas in tefillin. So somebody else said, okay, you know what, I'll put those 4, but there's this other section of the Torah that's really something close to my heart. I'm going to add that in as well.
Oh.
Or chameshes minim belulo. 5 species in the lulav means instead of taking the 4 species,
You take a 5th one.
Sorry.
You take a 5th one.
Which are lulav, esrog, lulav, hadassim, and arovas. So he says, you know what? I like orchids. Okay? I'm going to add in orchids as well.
Oh.
That's a shame. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, but what's the
little decoration there?
Orchids.
Okay? But the problem is, if somebody does that, if he intends to be yotze his mitzvah anyway,
Then
thereby he's done an avera.
Okay. The chamesh tzitziot.
How do we distinguish between that and hitter mitzvah?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that question. I know that sounds like a politician, but this is exactly the point I wanted to mention. Okay, where do we draw the line where, for instance, I'll give an example. We're going to give a good example, which is that's some Totus asked the question. Chamesh tzitzios, 5 tzitzios. Then the Rashi said, "V'chein lo sigru." Sigru means instead of having 4 parashas of tefillin, right, you're going to put just 3 or 5 species in the lulav. You're just going to have 3 instead of 4, 3, or 3 tzitzis instead of 4 tzitzis. Okay. Now, so Bishlema I can understand to detract from the mitzvah, to only put in 3 parshas or 3 minimum of lulav or 3 tzitzis. So I understand you haven't done the 4. Torah says 4. You did only 3. You didn't do the mitzvah. But why isn't taking 5 species, for instance, for the lulav? I'm taking the 4 which the Torah prescribed plus 1. Right? What's
I'm making it
what's
more
wrong with
beautiful.
that? Right? You know? Okay. Now Tosis actually asked a very interesting point. Tosis in Sukkah. Tosis says, so what is our minhag? Well, let me prelude my statement with what is the mitzvah d'oraisa of taking the 4 species? How many hadassim do you take, and how many aravas do you take?
Let's say it's I forget now. It's 2 aravot and
3 hadassim.
3 hadassim.
Right. Okay. So
Okay.
Tosis asked the question, 1 second, how can you do that? Midoraisa, it's enough to take 1 branch of hadassim and 1 branch of aravas. So l'chayra, by taking 3 branches of hadassim and 2 branches of aravas, you are adding to the mitzvah. How can you do that? Tosis asked this question. So Tosis answers, very interesting answer. Tosis says, I'm allowed to do the same mitzvah many times. Meaning, let's say blowing shofar, for instance. Actually, shofar is a little bit of a different thing because that involves blowing on something. But let's say matzah. Okay, eating matzah on Pesach. Have I any limitation how many kazaysim? My minimum required amount is to eat a kazayis, an olive size amount of matzah.
Okay.
Is there any limitation on how many kazaysim I eat?
No, as much as your stomach can hold, I think.
Right, I guess so, whatever. As long as it doesn't block up your intestines.
Right.
But you can eat as much as you want. I'm allowed, the number of times I do the mitzvah, there's no limitation. I can do the mitzvah again and again and again. Now, Tosis says something very interesting, which is better. Tosis is giving us a new concept. Tosis says, when I take the 4 species, and of one of them, or 1 or more of them, I take a number of them, right? So let's say 3 hadassim or 2 aravas. I'm really doing the same mitzvah, but a number of times, which is in itself a chidush of Tosfos, but that's what the accepted opinion is. Doing the mitzvah, but I'm doing it a number of times. Let's say I didn't have to take 3 lulavim, right, or 3 esrogim at one time. As long as I can hold them all together at one time, okay, then that's no problem with that, because I'm not taking other types of other species. Taking those 4 species which the Torah prescribes, but I'm doing it a number of times, that's not a problem. But to take another type, like in my example, orchids, the Torah didn't prescribe orchids. The Torah prescribed lulav, esrog, hadassim, and aravas. Those 4, taking another species, that's out of the realm of the mitzvah. That's forbidden. Which is interesting because by tefillin, let's say, or by tzitzis, doing the same thing again, right, is yes, out of the realm, but we're going to make a distinction over here. Is there a person that has a mitzvah of wearing tzitzis? Is there any limitation of how many garments with 4 corners with tzitzis? Is there any limitation on how many he wears? He can wear as many as he wants. In fact, probably you've heard of Rav Scheinberg, right? He was famous for the fact that he wore an indiscriminate, I would say, an indiscriminate number of tzitzis. Some say, well, some people say they were close to him or whatever, said they were anywhere between 50 and 100.
Wow.
He was actually a very, very thin man, but he looked thin because of the number of tzitzis that he wore. Okay, I mean, Scheinberg was obviously a great tzaddik or whatever, not minimizing, but he was like a bit of one of a kind, shall we say. Most the don't do it. According to the Maisa, as far as the din is concerned, there's no limitation on the number of garments one wears with tzitzis. But the garment which is chayav with tzitzis has to be a garment with 4 corners. It can be actually more corners as also, but only put on 4 tzitzis. Because the Torah says specifically, you've got to be on the 4 corners of your garment. 4, not 5. 4, not 3. So it's gedafka on the 4 corners. Okay, it's got to be dafka 4 corners. Similarly, by tefillin, the Torah specifically says totofois, which Chazal learn out to mean 4, 2 and 2. So it's dafka got to be, the Torah prescribes 4 parshas, 4 and no more. Even though Lamaisi, you're going to say, well, I'm going to put 1 parsha in twice. No, that's no good. However, again, a person's allowed to wear as many pairs of tefillin as he can fit onto him, right? Which is actually a Lamaisi, the Gemara says, person doesn't have place for more than wearing 2 pairs of tefillin at the same time, both on his head and both on his arm. There's no way, and we're talking about even making them small. I'll go upon him. So that is the distinction between to do the same mitzvah a number of times is allowed. To change the actual form of the mitzvah, that's what's forbidden. Okay? I once had actually from a very choshev yid who said very interesting. What's the idea? You mean if I do the mitzvah plus, so I'm doing the mitzvah plus. So what's wrong? What's wrong with that? So he says he's compared it to a very interesting marshal. He says compared to a musician, right? Let's say a violinist in an orchestra. So everybody's playing together, and in the middle he decides to have a little, you call it improviso, right? He adds a little shtickle of his own. What's it going to sound like? If everybody's playing something else and he's playing his little bit, it's going to sound terrible. Because the idea when Kosh Baruch was the one, just using the marshal, the symphony or the whatever it is, the music being played has to be everybody as one, and everybody's got to play the right tune to comply. Otherwise, it's not going to come out good. Same thing when Kosh Baruch would tell Klal Yisrael to do the mitzvahs, everything has to fit together. It's only Kosh Baruch who knows the entire cosmic plan of everybody doing it together. So if some guy decides to add his own bit, he's like adding a discordant sound, right, to the whole unit, but a complete unit of everybody doing the mitzvahs together. Okay. Oh, I see. We've gone well after our time. Okay.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Fine. Have a great day.
Okay.
Be well.
Be well. Yechiel, be well.